Hey, what's going on? It's me again. I just wanted to go over a couple of problems. We're going to do the area of a triangle here, and we're going to do two different things. We're going to do a basic formula where it's base times height, and then we're also going to do an area of an equilateral triangle. So this one's a different formula that you'll see how we do that in a little bit. So anyways, one thing that I keep stressing with all of these area formulas is that when you do base times height, they have to be perpendicular. So this is going to be the base, which is kind of weird that you would look at this as being the whole base. But if you think about it logically, yeah, it makes sense because this is the whole triangle, so that would be our whole base. And then our height is going to be the perpendicular segment to our base. So that's our height. So we have our height and our base. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into this formula and we get our answer. So the first problem that we're going to look at is pretty straightforward. That's a right triangle. We know that this could be our base and this could be our height. It really doesn't matter which one's which, just as long as you know that they're perpendicular. And we know that they're perpendicular right there. That's a right angle. So these have to be perpendicular, and they are. So when we use our formula is A equals B times H divided by 2. And we are going to go ahead and plug it in. So we have our base. We said our base is 11, so we're going to plug it in. 11 times 5, our height, over 2. And so this ends up being 55 over 2, which is 27.5. And since there aren't any units, we're going to say units squared. U squared. If it were inches, we'd say inches squared. Alright, next part we have to do is find the perimeter. And perimeter is the distance around an object. So in this case, sorry about the noise, doing some kind of construction there. So in order to find our area, our perimeter, we have to figure out this length. And as a little refresher, we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So in the Pythagorean theorem was a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Sorry about the ugly handwriting. Okay, so we're going to have to find x. So we're going to use, we have to say 5 squared. Remember, a and b are always your legs. They're always the two sides that form the 90-degree angle. So 5 squared plus 11 squared equals x squared. X is our hypotenuse. That's always our hypotenuse. So that's 25 plus 121, and that equals x squared. So that is 146. And in order to solve this, I'm sure everybody knows this by heart now, but in order to solve this, we have to take the square root of everything. So we end up with, I believe you get around 12.08. I actually punched it up here. 12.083. So we're going to say, we'll keep it short here, 12.1. So our hypotenuse is 12.1, but that is not our perimeter. Our perimeter is all the sides added up. So I'm going to go back to that ugly brown color, whatever that color is. So if we know this is 12.1, we're going to add up all the sides. So we're going to do 5 plus 11 plus, get that out of the way, 12.1. So this is 16, and that's 12.1, so it looks like it's going to be 28.1 units. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have a triangle. We want to figure out the area, and we also want to find the perimeter. So that means we're going to have to find this side. I'll put in green. I want to figure out this side. But I'll do that after. That's after when I find the perimeter. So right now I want to determine what my area is. So remember, when you're trying to find the area of a non-right triangle, so in this case it's an obtuse triangle, we know that the base and the height have to be perpendicular. But I don't want to account for this right now. That's an extra piece of information that we'll go back to. Right now, all I need to know is that my height of this triangle is 9. Right? So I need to know my base and my height. So I'm going to take this away because my writing is atrocious. We don't need to worry about the 3.7, but I'll leave it up. So this is going to be my height. So when we plug it into the formula, base times height over 2, we're going to take 7 times 9 divided by 2, which is 63 over 2, which is 31.5 units squared. So now we're going to go ahead and find our perimeter, but in order to do that, we have to find x. So now if we just think about that right triangle on the right, you have 9, you have 3.7. We want to figure out this side, because if we can find this side, then we have the 3 sides of this triangle. So we're going to figure that out by using the Pythagorean theorem. 3.7 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. So 3.7 squared is 3.7 squared, so we're going to do times 3.7, 13.69. Plus 81, and that equals x squared. So 13.69 is plus 81 is 94.69. So we're probably going to get around 9.5. So 94.69, 9.7, a little off there. So 9.7. Oh, that's not our perimeter though. Remember, I took the square root of this. That's where the 9.7 came from. So that gives me this side of 9.7. And then we just add up these 3 sides. So 21 plus 9.7 is 30.7. Okay, last one. The side of an equilateral triangle measures 12 meters. Find its area and then find its perimeter. This one's going to be pretty easy, finding its perimeter, but let's go ahead and figure out what we're looking at. So we have an equilateral triangle. That means all the sides are the same. And one side measures 12 meters. So we're going to have to figure out which formula to use. Well, we're lucky because we have the formula for an equilateral triangle, and it's s squared times root 3 divided by 4. And in case you forgot, s is the measure of a side. And it doesn't matter which side because they're all going to be the same. Okay? So, pretty easy. When we plug it in, we're going to do 12 squared, because that's the measure of a side, times the square root of 3, and we'll go over how to find that, divided by 4. Right? So there's our formula. We're just plugging it in. And let's take this one step at a time. 12 squared is 144 times root 3 divided by 4. So now let's figure out 144 times root 3. So I'm going to find the square root of 3 first, and then multiply that number. I'm not going to cut off any decimals multiply that number times 144. And we get 249, we'll say 249.4. And then we're going to take that number and divide it by 4. 249.4 divided by 4. 62, we'll say 62.4. 62.4. And this is meters, so it's going to be meters squared. And then for our perimeter, excuse me, is pretty basic. All the sides. Oh, that's weird. Why is it? Our perimeter is all the sides added up together. That's 12 times 3, which is 36, and it's perimeter, so it's just going to be meters. And there you go. So just to recap, we did 3 of the problems that you saw in your notes. Just wanted to give you a little extra explanation. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and let me know if you have any questions. All right.